From George Washington to Joe Biden, mass communication has played a role in America's politics. Politicians have utilized mass media in numerous ways throughout history, from informing the general public of new developments to spreading smear campaigns of their opponents. With the ever-changing landscape of media and mass communications, has political usage of mass communication been beneficial or detrimental to the American people? Let's look at some instances throughout history. In the beginning, American press was hyper-partisan, and newspapers didn't use restraint in their attacks on politicians that they disagreed with. Two large newspapers were even established by members of George Washington's cabinet who held opposing views, and those newspapers essentially became mouthpieces for opposing parties. During John Adams' time as president, Congress tried to stifle political dissent in the media by passing the Sedition Act, which resulted in jailing those who criticized the president or the army and press. When Thomas Jefferson was president, he helped create a newspaper to print the views of his party, and then gave said newspaper a government printing contract. Andrew Jackson took things a step further when his friends created a newspaper that served as the official press of his administration. Jackson gave the newspaper government printing contracts, and government employees over a set income level were expected to subscribe to the paper. Abraham Lincoln once revoked the postal privileges of a newspaper that opposed the war in an effort to silence the dissent. Franklin D. Roosevelt courted the media in a way that it became his own personal publicity machine. As you can see, mass communication was repeatedly abused by politicians in the early history of America to serve their own interests or the interests of their parties, instead of the interests of the American people. Now let's look at modern times, specifically the rise of social media. Social media has played a very important role in politics in the modern age, and it has been instrumental to some good changes. It has created more political engagement among the masses, empowered people to join in on political conversations and debates, jump-started social movements, and helped bring attention to social problems. But it has its drawbacks. Due to algorithms, it often results in echo chambers. When this happens, people aren't exposed to new or competing ideas, just reinforcement of their beliefs. But the biggest drawback is the spread of disinformation by governments, public relations firms, and political parties. A study from the Oxford Internet Institute found that over 93% of countries surveyed use disinformation as part of political communication. Let's take a look at Donald Trump's social media usage. He regularly shared social media posts that contained disinformation and had to be fact-checked attached to many of his posts. He shared posts from hate groups, he verbally attacked public officials or public personalities who disagreed with him. He spread conspiracy theories, and when he started being censored on social media for his disinformation campaign after losing the election, he created his own social media site where he would be free to spread disinformation at will, sounding eerily similar to the early days when the presidents and politicians were creating their own newspapers to control the information. At that, we've come full circle, and it is my opinion that political usage of mass communication has been detrimental to the American people. Politicians have routinely abused and manipulated mass communications for their own good, to sometimes astonishing extents. History shows politicians using mass communications to put party over people time and time again, and using manipulation to do so. It's the press's job to hold the government accountable and keep them honest. They're the watchdogs of the American people. But with the constant evolution of media, politicians have consistently managed to manipulate the media systems in their favor, many times by becoming the media themselves, corrupting the information given to the American people.